Let's just make sure that our volume is on. God, it's not usually me being the one that's going live on a Friday night, but um, truth be told, my kids got sick, my wife got sick. Now my wife's really sick. We just put the kids to bed, and I needed to do something adult because I was losing my fucking mind. Um, so I decided to come on. For those that know, I am part of the Ecamm fam. That's the service. Uh, that's the service. Brittany, that is not my keyboard skills. When I became a professional speaker, I actually hired somebody to write my own intro music for me. So his name, and I'm going to put this in the comments. His name is Mark Deeks. And what's funny is that I met him through this platform, and 2 years later, when I decided to rebrand, I wanted to do something really cool that other people hadn't done, and I chose to do it in that format because I knew getting your own song written about for you was fucking cool. Um, and for those that are curious, I asked him to write something Bruce Springsteen meets Dave Matthews Band. I'm an unadulterated Dave Matthews fan. Oh wow, we got a bunch of people tonight. Hey Robert, hey Donnell, hey Mark. So in an effort to do some adulting, I decided to come on, and like I can't, uh, I can't, I can't really drink because I do have a bottle of wine here. This is Halter Ranch Cabernet Sauvignon 2020 at Paso Robles. Because if my immune system goes, then we're all screwed. But I felt like coming on Amber. I love that. Mark Ford, I see you. Also, I have to shout out Gabe Leal. Um, Normally, he's the one that does this, but he's so in love. I wish I had some sort of butterfly sound effect with me, but uh, you know, what can we do? What can we do in honor of Gabe? No, that doesn't work either. Oh, here's a good one. Yeah, that's the one for Gabe. Timothy, I got to be honest with you. The reason you haven't seen Alive, and maybe this is a good time to talk about this, is that I was doing live events for 2 years. I was putting on live events. I put on 35 or so DEI related events. I was going live every week, but I realized I needed to learn and I needed to upgrade. So, what I did is, for those that don't know, I produce a show for Future Kane. It's called Healing Our Future. And I'll be able to bring up some slides on that. But we actually have a podcast. If you go to YouTube and you type in Healing Our Future, you'll see all our season 2 episodes. And in doing that, I was able to learn from Future, who's been my mentor in the DEIB space, while also upgrading myself. So, as a professional speaker, I want to be able to present and get the highest amount of money for what I'm doing. If I sat here and I said, okay, well, I just have the basic material, I just have the basic, you know what, then I'm not going to be able to charge very much because the quality isn't going to be there. But if I upgrade to the Ecamm platform, which I'm very proud of, although I don't work for them, if I get the right gear, so right now I have two standing lights. These are from Loom Cube. I have a Stream Deck over here. I have Stream Deck Plus. over here, which I haven't set up because it's been a little bit complicated for me. This is a Hypercast mic. I have this $800 cam that I got sent for influencer marketing, which is absolutely ludicrous and outrageous. My wife thinks that's funny. So if I get all this stuff now, I could really up my value. So if I was charging 5,000 for a virtual speaking engagement before, now I could charge 7,000. What's really cool about this is now when I do events, I'm able to download the ISO recordings, so the isolated recordings of each individual person that's on the show, so on and so forth. Anyway, speaking of my first event back officially under the rising, and by the way, that's not a religious rising, it's you, uh, Phoenix oriented. Yes, Amber. I know I was dealing with the Phoenix before the guy from Canada. Uh, Very much the crow ideology. So under that umbrella, hey Teresa, I hope the event was good for you. Um, so under that umbrella, I'm doing my first event back, and that first event back is going to we're finalizing the date, but basically what I'm going to be doing is hosting a diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging in corporate panel at the conclusion of the newsletter series that I've been putting out, and I have part 5 due up. I believe it's on Tuesday, and that's going to be leadership buy-in. So it's going to be my first event back, and then when Future and I go on break for the summer, I'm going to bring my show back. What's different about how I work as opposed to a Brian Schulman, as opposed to Aaron, as opposed to Gabe, is uh, they're very good at doing weekly series. What I realized early on in my tenure on this platform is that's a shitload of work, and you just don't get the measurables that you would hope to get. And with the stuff that I talk about, yeah, Tim, this is so here's the thing with me. Um and I was getting to this anyway. So when I realized how difficult it was to do it every week on your own, creating the back end work, promoting. I mean, LinkedIn only gives you 1,000 invites per week, which sounds like a lot. It's really not. Um, so what I decided to do is instead of doing weekly broadcasts, I create events. And I'm very strategic about it. So, and I have no problem sharing this because I get consulted, I get paid to consult on this. So, if I'm creating an event and I'm scheduling it 6 weeks out, that allows me to build the $0 marketing. So I build out videos, I build out posters, I build out reels, all of this other stuff ahead of time, and I'm able to really easily manipulate it platform to platform, so it's not an excessive amount of work. But then, let's say I have 5 guests, all 5 of them, by virtue of being speakers, get 1,000 invites per week. So if we do 6 weeks out, that's 30,000 invites that we have availability to have, plus my thousands. That's 36,000 invites that we have in our networks. On top of that, because I have a global audience, what I'll do is I'll do an initial broadcast, and then I'll do a live replay in different areas to be there for different demographics. So I have a big contingent of connections in the UK, in Australia, in India. So I'll do a live broadcast, a live rebroadcast for India, for New Zealand, and all these different areas. And the difference with a live versus a live broadcast is we've already recorded it, but I'm live to answer questions, and it still provides that response that people get. Now, by doing that, not only are you getting that initial wave of viewers in right there, but you're also getting those 3 or 4 others. And then on top of that, hey Henry, on top of that, we then can cut into different clips and play that over the course. So the thing a lot of people don't understand is you take one event, one hour event, and you'll probably get 200 to 300, maybe 500 pieces of content from that you could use over time. And one of the really easy things, and let me see if I could find it, because I'll share it with everybody, and I think everybody knows I'm not the biggest when it comes to AI, but here we go. This is, oh, just want to go to regular. Nope, I just want to go to regular. Okay. 1 second. Oh, come on. Opus. There we go. So if you go to this particular site right here, oh, where am I? There we go. So if you go to this particular site right here, that I'm posting in the chat, it's opus.pro. And what this is going to do is if you put in your show, then for free subscribers, you have up to 2 hours, and it will automatically generate about 10, 30 to 60-second clips. So this allows you, without much work, to do something where, here, actually, I'll be able to share with you so you could see. Let me do this. I need animated. No, I don't want the image. I want the video file. So here we go. No, I don't want Ecamm Live folder. Bear with me 1 second. I did not know I was going to be doing this. Okay. Movies. Here. So if I click, so this is an animated overlay. So if I go here, now I'm clipping this. And what this does is now you're going to see that this is from a show that I did with Tony McClelland. And you're going to see over here that it cut it up into this clip, the size. Why is this not playing the sound? But you get the point of it, where this is going to, yeah, I don't know why there's no sound on this, but you could obviously see that it goes through and goes through that. So I appreciate that, Henry. Truly, I do. So this is, we got a little bit off track, but this is sort of where, and why I do things I do. So if you want to check out Opus Pro, that's one of them. If you have other questions about different things that you could do, here's another tool. So speaking of really cool tools, here, let me do this. I'm going to go to this website. What you're going to see right now is, I'm going to do a screen share. Okay. So bear with me 1 second. Okay. So now what you'll be able to do is, let me put this, and I'm going to hide myself for a second. I'm going to click this. Let's go off this camera source. This is the beauty of live production. Okay. So here's this future tools. So this is a collection of what you could do with AI. So if you're looking to do one thing, you could actually search. And the really cool thing, and this is one of the things I absolutely love about Ecamm, that I get to do all this cool stuff right within the app. So if I want to do an AI tool just for fun or image scanning, then I could just simply click it, and let's say generate dog comics. I can do that, and it'll give me a database of. I haven't used this site in a little bit, but okay. Dogs. Yeah, so this will bring up, and you'll be able to see everything. Hi, Suzanne. I'm just as curious as you because I don't know what I'm going to be saying in 5 seconds. Hey, Christine. So these are a couple of cool tools that you could use that are there for you. Going back to this screen, welcome back to my office. So different things that you could do. Eventually, one day, I'm going to take everybody behind the scenes of what I do and how I operate everything, because it's really interesting. Like when I switched over to this platform for future show, I didn't realize how good I was going to get. And now I have proposals out to two separate companies that I'm probably going to wind up working with to develop their branding and production for their shows. So it's really, really cool to see what you could do. But, kind of getting back to the entire point of why I'm on, there's no really good point. I've just been dealing with children all day and a sick wife and felt like I needed to do something normal. Oh, by the way, because this is here in my office and you're always going to see random crap. So, and y'all know what this is. You see them on TikTok all the time. I don't have TikTok, but they're the confetti cannons. So Target had these on sale. So I'm a big kid at heart, so I buy two of them. My daughter is being a pain in the ass one day. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to surprise her and have some fun. So I go out, I say, hey, Haley, I pop it. The thing explodes loud as can be. The dogs start running in 5 different directions. Don't do it. I was cleaning up the crap out of this can for 2 weeks. Like, I've never seen something go in so many different directions and have such a hard time finding. I don't know if it's because I'm colorblind. Um, I don't know why that is. But the reason that I've had this for 2 months is because I wouldn't dare to shoot it at anybody but my mother-in-law. And not in my house. Not worth it. Definitely not worth it. Now I could see this being really cool if like you were doing a gender reveal, but in California we don't do gender reveals because they start wildfires. Yeah, Timothy, it's very much like glitter. Um, Now, thankfully, I could say that this has never gone into my crack, but uh, pretty much everywhere else. That's this is the kind of content that you get when I'm exhausted and not feeling like being an adult. Um, but yeah, so we've gone through the content. I got to tell everybody. I got to tell y'all. Um, I hadn't had any interviews in like January. Now it's June. Probably 4 or 5 months. I wound up having two that popped up today. And then I was referred in for one other position, and they're actually the roles that I'm going for. Um, they're all DEI manager roles, and what's funny about it is that 2 days ago, I had a member of my network. Oh yeah, glitter. I mean, look, I'm colorblind. Like I'm straight up colorblind. That's not me making a joke. Uh, I'm straight up colorblind. You'd be shocked at how often I have trouble cleaning things up. But yeah, so the interesting thing about it is 2 or 3 days ago, I had a member of my network that reached out to me, and I'm not going to name their name, and I think that they were coming at it from a good place, but sometimes you could come from a good place and still be an asshole. And that's what happened in this particular situation. And basically, I don't even want to go through and look at that. It's going to piss me off. But they basically said that I'm headed down a road of bankruptcy and despair. Um, and that I'm going to let down my family. Uh, it set the wrong tone. I don't think y'all know. For those that aren't in DEIB, for those that don't live it, because like when you're in this work, you're in it morning, afternoon, night. You go to sleep with it, you wake up with it. It's a mission, it's not a job. There's no turning it off. And time after time, I'm getting messages. And it's, by the way, I just want to be very clear, it's not just Caucasians. I'm Now there's a difference. A lot of the white individuals that have made comments, uh, they've done so primarily out of ignorance. I've also been told the same thing by black and brown colleagues. The difference is the black and brown colleagues respect me. And it's more of, this is an awkward time right now. I just don't want to see you sink, knowing what a bad market we're in. And that I understand, that I can respect. Um, but those people also know that I don't give up. I can't. But anyway, the entire point in saying this was, it was just so ironic that 2 days ago I get this message from this wannabe king. And then, and here's what's great, Jennifer, if you're watching, love you. I had the fucking director of DEI for Forever 21 reach out to me and refer a company to me saying, hey, this is the right guy for the job. Um, the irony that occurs in life is second to none. I've had my kids and my wife not been sick, I'd be riding a fucking high right now. And I know I'm cursing more than I usually do, but I figure it's late at night and LinkedIn's already named their top voices, so I have nothing to lose. Um, I wish I had some fucking water in here. I have a cough. So my office, yeah, I'm not gonna hook that up, but I actually have a coffee maker and a bar in my office. It's the greatest office studio ever. That also happens to double as where we keep the toys during Christmas for my kids. Um, yeah, so the irony of it, and it's been a challenge, and I'll briefly touch on this. Um, uh, I'm not white. I identify as Middle Eastern. I'm from Israel, but as the product of white privilege, which I do have the benefit of, um, it's not easy to be in these roles, and more often than not, I haven't even gotten past the resume submission. So it's it's definitely a huge challenge, in spite of the fact that uh, I have the support of some, not even some. a ton of absolutely incredible human beings. I'm not going to list off names, but the people that matter, no. Um, I think my point that I was trying to get to, though, is one of my biggest issues has been getting past that resume, because I hate resumes. Resumes tell you nothing. Uh, it's always been, once you get me on a call, you understand. Like, it's okay. The piece of paper is not gonna describe you well, but once you start talking, we get into it, and people get it. Like, oh shit, he knows this stuff, and then we get into it more, and they find out, oh, Dan works with Veritas Culture, the only business in the United States accredited to do diversity to belonging facilitation training and certification. Hmm. Dan produces DEI related content. Wow. He's put out 6 newsletters talking about the ins and outs of diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging. Damn. He created this. Holy crap. And then they start to get it. Um, and I don't like talking about like all the stuff that I've done. I mean, I'm here with family and friends, so you know, I don't talk about the fact that I started in rape prevention. That's how I got into DEIB when I was 16 years old. Um, I don't gloat about the fact I co-founded the Gender Studies Club at my university. I don't talk about the work that I do with transitioning military. I certainly don't talk about the $7,500 I raised to create a career accelerator classroom in Nigeria, Shawadada Udabo, where I learned to speak Yoruba. And by the way, that was predicated because there was a white individual on Clubhouse that made a promise to a young lady, and he made a promise, and then he couldn't. He wrote a check his ass couldn't cash. Well, that's not okay. That may be okay in the $1 million home neighborhoods you grew up in, but when you make a promise to somebody that's scraping by their teeth, that doesn't know when they're getting their next meal, that's not okay. I'm not a fundraiser, but I raised $7,500 for that classroom, and there's a big thing in Nigeria in that career accelerator classroom. But I don't like to talk about all this stuff. I couldn't do all that if it was just my day job. I do that because it's the right thing to do. And because as much as people get tired of me saying it, everything that I do in life is a direct reflection of the example I want to set for my twin daughters. I was so incredibly proud when we went to Target the other week, and my daughter and Haley, once again, I take her around the entire toy section. Like, that's what we do. Like, we separate the twins so that each one of us as parents can get individual time. So when we go to Target, because they love Target, and who wouldn't love Target, we take them around the entire toy section. And the reason we do that is so that they could see everything that they could possibly get. Of course, there's a limit. We're not going to go past a certain amount, but they don't know that. So my daughter goes, and we start looking, and she goes, "Stop, stop, Daddy. I want that one. I want that one for Sissy." And they were the black Barbie dolls. In that isolated moment, I had such a feeling of joy. And before I get any further, let me say, I'm not trying to say that there's no color in this world. The objective of DIB is not to say that we're colorblind. The idea is to remove the biases associated with it so that when we look at people, we see them for who they are. When my daughter picked out those dolls, I said to her, Haley, why these? They look smart and beautiful, Daddy. Such an incredibly proud moment. Um, I preach about starting the education very early. My children were brought up with a book, Please Don't Touch My Hair, so that they could learn not to touch hair. They were brought up with books about female scholars. They were brought up learning about Judaism and Catholicism and Hinduism. Now, obviously, they're young, but they're being conditioned to understand these things. And the goal is that once they get to a point where they're in school, that if somebody says something, and I give credit to my wife for this because this is the way she is. If somebody says something, they could say, no, you're wrong, and here's why. Both my girls understand that. Um, their nanny, who's been with them since they were 6 months old, is gay. She is a member of our family. We love her. And she's white, but she's attracted to black women. And my daughters have been around them. My daughter, so her current long-term girlfriend, her name is Ferrari. They know her as Aunt Ferrari. There's not this illusion about, oh, she's somebody else, she's just a friend. No, Aunt Ferrari is your aunt's partner. And it's normal for them. It's normal. And that's the way it should be. It's just the way that it should be. So, it hurts my heart when I see so many of these posts out with people that are pushing such ignorance. But I will go back to that moment in Target for the rest of my life. That is one of the few moments that as it's happening that you need to treasure it. It's also one of those few moments that you realize as a parent, because as a parent, anybody that's a parent knows we question ourselves more than we could ever want to admit. It's one of those few moments that you've done something right. Now, speaking of doing something right, as soon as this is over, I am off to get on the bike because, Christine, that does not surprise me knowing you. That does not surprise me in the least. And by the way, if I'm looking this way because my big screen is over here. So I have two 32-inch monitors on either side. I am currently, let's see, I am on day 47, staying on my weight loss diet. Um, I have currently been on the bike 32 times in the last 31 days. Um, my face is thinning out a little bit. My quads are gaining a lot of muscle. I'm still waiting for it to take over my stomach. Like I wish you could pick and choose when you start working out where the weight's gonna come off. Because I want my abs back. I don't even I don't even need big abs. Yeah, Shannon, Peloton. So okay, so sorry. Let me go back. Um, the app I use to track my food intake is Lose It, but what I go on for working out is Peloton. Um, and just so you know, I didn't think I'd ever be able to use the Peloton. Um, I was very, very badly injured in a car accident about 13 years ago, and then re-injured it in another car accident um, 5 years ago. And during the pandemic, I pretty much gave up on myself because it hurt so much. Now, now I've ridden it a ton of times. Today I actually got gloves because my hands were hurting so much. This may be too much information, but I really don't care. These are my saving grace. These are my padded bike shorts that keep my ass from hurting too much. I got the Peloton shoes, which are vital. Um, so yeah, I didn't think I'd be able to get on the bike either. But here's what I realized. Uh, here's what I realized, Shannon. I realized that the more I worked out, the more I built my core up, the less everything else hurt. So my back started to go out my second week. And I couldn't figure out why it didn't go all the way out because normally when that happens, like I'm out of commission for 10, 15 days. Um, and then I realized, well, wait a second, my core is better. And it hit me that all this time I just had to fight through and get to that sort of area where where I got past. And now, like, look, I hurt every time I go on the Peloton. But I take it from start to finish. I don't allow it. I don't allow myself to give up because I'd given up on myself for 3, 4, 5 years. I mean, to tell you how bad it was, I was supposed to have back surgery at the beginning of the pandemic, and the day before they canceled it. Daniel Hall, the man, the myth, the legend, the man I keep missing when it comes to connecting with. It is good to see you. Shannon, I'm horrible at self care. I'm overworked, pretty much over everything, and I have been for a long time. I'm a guy that went through male postpartum depression and burnout. I deal with anxiety, I deal with depression. I talk about it all the time. There are days where I don't know why I'm depressed. I just feel depressed. There are days where I'm exhausted and I don't know why I'm exhausted. There are days where all of a sudden I'll go into a panic attack and have no idea why. Um, and the thing with it is that I don't try to hide it. I've built my presence here on social media based on one very, very, very big thing. Well, the big thing is getting slimmer. I've built it on exactly who I am. What I realized is when we open ourselves up, then we connect with people better. So there's no lack of transparency that's going to come in. Hopefully, my story and my stories will allow the next person to feel like they can. I have to, male postpartum depression, like I never even knew about it until I was dealing with it. Here's what most people don't know. And I just recently talked about this with my friend Sarah Storm. If anybody doesn't watch Hello Monday with Sarah Storm and Jesse Hempel, you need to. They're fantastic. But I was just talking with her about this because um, in the lead up to the pandemic, I so when I moved to California from New Jersey, I was leaving my grandmother, who I primarily took care of. And when I left, I had a lot of guilt about it. Well, my grandmother was soon diagnosed with terminal cancer. Um, about 2 years into her treatment, my mother in law came down with her second bout of breast cancer. Now, my wife, her father passed away before we met, and they were divorced anyway. Her brother, so my brother in law, had moved up to Washington State. So, what wound up happening was that we were the only ones there for her mom. I wound up taking her mom to infusions 3 times a week. For those that know cancer and know Red Devil and things like that, you basically have to go. It is 3 hours a day, 3 days a week. I was there the entire time. We were watching her dog. I was helping out around the house. Everything that needed to be done, that was me. At the same time, my grandmother was desperately fighting for her life. Desperately fighting for her life. She went through treatment after treatment. She refused to give up. But the problem was, and I'm getting to my point in a moment, my problem was that because my wife was shouldering the load for her mom, I couldn't talk to my wife about it. I didn't feel like it would be right to talk about how hard a time I was having, knowing what she was going through. I didn't feel like I could talk to her about how much work it was with her mom because I knew she needed me to be there. But emotionally, it took way worse of a toll than I expected. And over time, so that goes through. And then my mother, to make a long story short, my grandmother passes away. And my mother in law recovers. This is within 2 months of each other. My wife and I had put off having kids when my mother in law got sick in order to take care of her. Right after her final treatment and she was in the clear, my wife and I decided to start having kids. Well, let me tell you, I didn't get very much practice in, which is the fun part, before my wife got pregnant. So I went from dealing with my mother-in-law having breast cancer and my grandmother passing away from cancer to literally within 2 months having a wife that was pregnant, dealing with hyperemesis, which is like morning sickness times 10 that doesn't go away, gestational diabetes. She wound up with preeclampsia. She couldn't sleep. there was no gap. For nearly a decade straight, I ran on fumes. Quite frankly, me being here today is a survival. But the point in saying that is that when I got to that point where my kids were born, now the pandemic starts, I was out of energy. I remember I had taken a job. So I didn't even talk about the job aspect, but I was going through hell with work. I was with a company that went through like 3 realignments. They flew me on 5 hours notice from San Diego to Pennsylvania to start a new division. Um, so now I go to that. I take this new job. I get out of that position. I take this new job where I'm a manager, not realizing the full length of what I was actually dealing with. And I'll never say that it wasn't my fault I got let go, because it wasn't just the pandemic. I was I was done. I wasn't thinking straight. I couldn't strategically plan out how I was doing things. Um, it with the respect to the terminology I'm about to use, it felt like I was in a brain fog, and it felt like I was in a brain fog for a very long time. So when I got let go at the start of the pandemic, um, it didn't it didn't surprise me, and I can't blame them. Although I'm thrilled I it no longer working for them because they were horrible. But I'm not going to name names. Let's just say that you could look at my profile if you're really interested. I'm Anyway. It was because of what I went through that I believe, and the fact I had hit rock bottom. Because, by the way, my wife almost died. That's the part I didn't mention. I actually talk about this in my keynote. Um, After the girls were born, we went into the recovery room, and my wife had a hemorrhage. And they took her into emergency surgery, but didn't tell me anything. And for 3 hours, I had to think of my life without my um and in those moments, that's made me who I am today. But this is why, like, all the stuff that you go through leads you to this point where you can say, okay, well, I've gone through it all. Now I get to be me. Because for 10 years, for 10 years, everything else was first. Um, for 10 years, I was dealing with this dichotomy of being with the love of my life and struggling so incredibly badly that when the pandemic hit, when I came down to rock bottom, when the only thing I had left that I could possibly think of was to go on social media to brand myself, to look better for employers, I didn't have any energy left to be anything but what you see in front of you. And the thing about that is it's the best decision I ever made, because the moment I let go, the moment I said, love me or hate me, here I am, the moment I realized that my neurodiversity was my greatest strength, that's the moment I started to go this way. And for those that may be new to me, I've been named one of the top 25 job experts in the world. I've been on stages talking about DEIB as a keynote speaker, getting standing ovations. I've gone from no experience in recruitment to being recognized by the top people and arguably the top corporation in the world. I've done nearly 300 podcasts. I've keynoted two keynote addresses in Nigeria. I was the originator of that post that you see connecting job seekers to recruiters. In 2 years, I put job seekers in front of 5.7 million people. The reason that doesn't do as well now, the reason that those posts don't do as well now is because they don't know how the fuck to do it. Truth is truth. I did it. And that created a group of 13,000 people. The collective that I founded today. In that group, by the way, if you don't know about that, we have 1,500 recruiters. We have 500 coaches. I verify and vet every single person that comes in there. And I don't let anybody solicit their services without being vetted by me. There's going to be safety in my fucking house. And you damn well ain't going to take advantage of. Oh, boy. I'm realizing I still have to work out. I've been live for nearly an hour. Well, so I still got time. I'm really hoping I don't get sick from my wife and kids. Tia, oh, what a sight for sore eyes. I've missed you, my friend. You were one of the first, and I appreciate you. And when I say one of the first, I met Tia very early on in my journey. Amazing human being. Amazing, amazing human being. Shit. Y'all, I was coming on here to relax. And y'all got me talking about this shit. Maybe I just needed to. Maybe things happen for a reason and you come on and you just talk. Maybe this is why Gabe does it, but I'm not as corny as Gabe. Keep talking about love, 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 love. Crazy love. Fuck. Gabe, just get a room already. Fuck until you're tired, until you're done with all this corny shit. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. Love you too, too. I'm happy for him and feel free to tell him what I've said. But like seriously, I mean, what is it, like 7 minutes in heaven? I wasn't a cool kid in high school, so I don't know what it was. But send Gabe into the closet, let him do his 7 minutes. That will, that's 6 minutes longer than he could go. But anyway, Shannon, you're very welcome. It's been a hard day. Sorry, like I don't like very many guys. Just being like very direct and honest. I had some bad. I was bullied a lot. So I've always gravitated towards women, but Gabe is one of the few guys that's in my life and in my world that I'm like, that man is a brother to me. So I can joke with him and he knows it's coming from a good place. But yeah, you know what, everybody? I want to say thank you. Sometimes in life, we have no idea what we're doing or why we're doing it. And it relieves this tension that you didn't know you had. Um, I think I've had so much built up that I needed a release. And whether you had a choice or not, you had a choice to tune in. And you've allowed me to do that. And I'm very appreciative. Um, damn. Uh, I mean, yeah, it's part of the bigger plan, but I'm trying to lose weight, Timothy. Like, can it be part of the smaller plan, more muscular plan, not aging as fast plan? Um, can we, you know, I'll tell you what, you know what I really wish I could do? Um, I really wish I could eat White Castle and lose weight. Some of you are going to be thinking, what the hell is he talking about? That's the grossest shit ever. But don't judge me. Or you can judge me, I don't care. Um, but it's great. But listen, before I wrap up, you will see more of me if you tune in to Healing Our Future on Wednesdays, which we're not going to be live this week. Um, I'm always in the production chair. I'll also say I've been struggling with one thing. Amber, who you've seen in this chat, her and there are two people individually that I have to share gratitude for. Her and Nancy Deborah Barrows went on a show called Soul Man Live, and it's run by a gentleman out of Canada by the name of Aaron Gibson. And Aaron, I promise you, during this moment, I'm not going to be throwing any jokes at you. Shannon, I will just give me 1 second, and I'll share everything. So, Amber and Nancy are vocal advocates of talking about domestic violence. God. Hold on a second, everybody. Hold on a second. I'm seeing this comment, and I'm seeing this comment, and I have to say, uh, yeah. Get the fuck out of here with the vegan with the vegan burgers. That's gross. Anyway, so Nancy, Deborah, and Amber were on the show and spoke about domestic violence. I was a victim of domestic violence when I was 18. It is their strength in talking about their experience that led me to being open about it for the first time in my life. For as much as I talk about publicly, It is the one thing I don't know if I could speak about openly on air. And the reason for that is I'm just unpacking the toll it took and the wounds it inflicted, because it wasn't until Amber and Nancy Deborah that I had the courage to face it. It was something I kept repressed in the deepest, darkest annals of my memory. And it wouldn't be right of me to host this live and talking about all this stuff and not be able to say to Nancy Deborah, who I doubt will ever watch this. She has a lot going on in her life, but she's pretty freaking amazing. And to Amber, thank you for your courage. Um, so there's that. Yeah. See, but yeah, I had to pause for the vegan burgers because I don't understand being vegan. I just don't, Christine. I adore you, and you're a friend. You always will be, but the vegan burgers is sort of where I draw the line. Well, it is where I draw the line. Yeah. So this is a Hypercast microphone. If anybody is interested, this is so. There's a lot of different mics that you can get out there. This one happens to be my favorite. This actually comes sort of in a thing like this. This is what a standard mic would come in, and then you have this piece that screws into the mic. So that came off. I bought the swing arm, but if you're interested, and this is actually on sale right now, and I don't get paid anything for doing this. I'm posting the link for that. So that link to that I just posted is going to take you to Amazon. Um, Honestly, Amber, if I talk about it, it's probably going to be with Future. Uh, Future, either Future or Future and Jen Buck. And I know that Aaron says he's open to me being on his show, but uh, Future and Jen Buck, and if you don't know Jen Buck, she's family to me. She's my mentor in the professional speaking space. Those are probably the only two that I'd be comfortable having that conversation with. But anyway, Shannon asked me about my show, or my and future show. So here's the deal. When I decided to start being in DEIB as a white individual, it's really important to listen. And I knew that if I partnered with my mentor, then I could listen and learn as opposed to just talking. Um, oh, thank God, Christine. Uh, so when I did that, Future just happened to want to do a show. So we got together and like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it really well. So here's the thing. This is our podcast. Please feel free to subscribe. We talk to different people every week about their healing journey. This past week, we had Naeem Sanders, who is an the assistant or the associate superintendent. We've had some truly amazing, amazing guests. Aisha Joseph, who was at the forefront of bringing Black rights to LinkedIn. We've had some just tremendously amazing people, and I take care of everything behind the scenes, and she gets to be on the show and do her thing, and it's helped me learn, it's helped me grow, but and it's a effort with love. So this is our weekly, and then what you'll see is I don't even know, can I don't think I'll be able to switch my profile during the show, but one of the things I'm working on is that DEIB corporate event, and that's going to be sometime next month. I can confirm the following. The people that I will be having on the show at this time are co-owner of Veritas Culture, Chris Armstrong, Director of Communications for Amazon, Director of DEI Communications for Amazon, Heidi Barker, consultant, professional speaker, coach, facilitator, Eshawn Peterson, keynote speaker, 2023 Woman of the Year, ERG Award winner, Inclusive Leadership, Lori Thibodeau. I'm going to have president of Amazon's Black ERG, Sharita Washington, and my mentor on working on DEI in corporate and program leader, Crystal Howard. Those are going to be my guests as I facilitate that conversation. I personally chose them, and they're just going to be absolutely fantastic. I will be there hosting. With that, I need to go on the bike, because if I don't, I'm going to be pissed at myself. So let's do this. What do I want to play right now? Do we want some flame? What's that? Nah. What about lightning? I appreciate you. Hey, let's do this. Is anybody a fan? If you're... I think it's only... Let's go.
With a little love and some tenderness, we'll walk upon the water, we'll rise above the mist. With a little peace and some harmony, we'll take the world together, we'll take them by the hand.